Good evening, Kipsters, and we are into our lesson 4, into our jump into health curriculum. And our topic this evening is going to be on roots and stems and other parts of the plant. So we are going to be talking about roots and stems and other parts of the plant. Think about what we might be talking about. Not sure? Here we go. Okay, so in this slide, or in this lesson, we're going to go about 12 minutes with our story and our discussion. We're going to talk about, for about 6 minutes, a little game or an activity that's going to be modified a little bit because we are virtual. And then we'll take about a minute or two to kind of wrap up what happened and talk about some of the things in the lesson and make sure that we all understood what's going on. So our learning objectives for today. Okay, so as a student, you will be able to identify vegetables as different parts of plants and identify how often vegetables should be eaten every day whenever possible. So you're going to be able to identify vegetables and as the different parts of them and identify how often the vegetables should be eaten every day when we are able to do so. Okay, so raise your hand if you have eaten more vegetables lately, like in the last couple of days, maybe the last week, couple days, 2 days ago, maybe yesterday, in the last month. If you're raising your hand, that's a really good thing because we really want to make sure that we're eating our vegetables and make sure we're eating them often to help provide that nutrition for our body. So you're going to hear another story, okay, in this one about Gus Goodfood and Jumpin' Jackie, and we're going to listen carefully to find out what it is that Gus and Jackie disagree about. And what does it mean to disagree? Well, when we disagree about something, it means that we do not agree on a particular topic or something that was said. So we might not agree that we like the same thing. So it could be something like Jackie says that her shoe is big, and Gus says maybe her shoe is small. And that's a disagreement because they don't come to an agreement and think the same way. They're thinking two different ways, okay? So we're gonna read the story, okay, which is called Roots and Stems, and I'm gonna show you the stories so that you can follow along as we go, okay? So here's the story called Roots and Stems. One day, soon after Gus Goodfood got home from school, he heard a knock on the front door. When he opened it, there was Jumpin' Jackie. "Hey, Gus," she said, "do you want to come to my house? We can eat a snack, then play catch in the backyard." "Sure," said Gus Goodfood. "I'll ask my mom if it's okay." Gus Goodfood's mom said yes. A few minutes later, Gus and Jumpin' Jackie were walking down the sidewalk to her house. Gus Goodfood asked, "Remember what our teacher told us about eating vegetables?" "Of course," said Jumpin' Jackie. She said all vegetables are go foods, and they help our body in lots of ways. That's why we should eat vegetables at meals and snack time every day if we can. "I bet you don't remember the way a vegetable can become a whoa food," said Gus Goodfood. "I do remember," said Jumpin' Jackie. "Frying vegetables in greasy fat makes them become a whoa food. That's why a French fry is a whoa food. And that's why we should eat them only every so often or once in a while. Are we going to eat go vegetables for our snack at your house?" asked Gus Goodfood. Jumpin' Jackie smiled as if she had a secret, and then she said, "We're going to eat the roots and stems of some plants." "What?" Gus Goodfood said, and he stopped walking. "People don't eat roots and stems." "You'll see." And here's the parts, okay? We have different parts, and we're going to talk about them here shortly. The two friends took off running. They both touched Jumpin' Jackie's front door at the same time. "Hi, Gus," Jumpin' Jackie's dad called from the kitchen. "Are you hungry for a snack?" "As hungry as a horse," Gus Goodfood called back. Then on their way to the kitchen, he told Jumpin' Jackie horses and other animals might eat roots and stems, but people don't. When Gus Goodfood saw what was on the two plates, he said, "Jackie, you were teasing me. These aren't roots and stems we're going to eat. They're baby carrots and celery sticks, and something to dip them into." "That dip is a healthy Go Dip," Jumpin' Jackie's dad explained. "It's made with low-fat yogurt and spices, and it's great to eat with raw vegetables." "Gus, a carrot is a root, and celery is a stem," said Jumpin' Jackie. "No, they're not," insisted Gus Goodfood. "Yes, they are." "No, they are not," insisted Gus Goodfood. Okay, so now we come back to our at the end of our story. And the first question I have is, what did Gus Goodfood and Jumpin' Jackie learn at school about how often to eat vegetables? And you're right. The answer is you should eat vegetables at meals and snack time as often as you can, because vegetables help your body in lots of ways. Gus and Jackie also found out how a vegetable becomes a WOW food. Do you remember how it does? You're right. If you're looking at the picture over here, when you take a vegetable and you put it in greasy oil and fry it up, like and turn a potato into French fries, that's a greasy fat, which is going to turn that into a WOW food. In our third bullet point, oops, I'm going to try to move that up a little. Whoops, my bad. Go. Okay. Are French fries a Go food or a WOW food? So are French fries a Go or a WOW food? If you were listening, you paid attention. I already told you that they are a WOW food. Once you use that oily grease and that fatty grease, that is going to turn it into a WOW food. And should you eat them often, meaning a lot of times? The answer is no, you should not. That should be only every so often. So if you're eating French fries every day, that's not going to be good for your body. So now, what was the snack that Gus Goodfood and Jumpin' Jackie were going to eat? Baby carrots and celery. All right. And a low-fat yogurt dip with some spices in it. What did Gus Goodfood and Jumpin' Jackie disagree about? You remember? You're right. They were disagreeing about whether a carrot is a root and whether celery is a stem. Let's see who's right. There we go. So here are the parts of a plant, okay? And when you look at this, whoops, sorry. There we go. You have leaves, okay? We have 4 different parts of our plant. Oops, sorry, went too far, my apologies. So you have leaves, you have flowers that are parts of plants, you have seeds, you have roots, which are down in the ground, the stem, which is kind of what comes out of the ground, and then the fruit that might come from the roots, the stem, and then off of some of the leaves potentially, okay? So when we talk about leaves and we talk about vegetables, okay, there are some different types of vegetables that are considered leaves. And you're looking on the screen right now, and we're showing spinach is one, cabbage, and lettuce at the bottom. I know it may be hard to see it right now because my screen keeps popping up, and I'm going to move that thing out of the way as much as I can. Okay, so lettuce, cabbage, and spinach, all leaves. Now when we talk about roots, okay, those things that are usually down in the ground, carrots, sweet potatoes, and beets, those are all considered roots of a plant. let's talk about stems and flowers. When we talk about stems, we're talking about celery, asparagus. When we're talking about flowers, we're talking about broccoli and cauliflower. And all of these are vegetables, but they just come from different parts of plants. When we talk about the fruits, okay, this tomato was the fruit of a tomato plant. And in your picture, you can point to the tomato that hasn't been cut open, okay, right here. Now, you see that we have a couple of stems, okay, and we have a couple of fruits over here. I'm sorry, fruits over here. We have zucchini and cucumbers and bell peppers. A zucchini is the fruit of a zucchini plant. Cucumbers and bell peppers are also the fruits of their plants, okay? Now, the seeds, when we take that same tomato that we were just talking about and we cut it open in half, the seeds are actually inside of that tomato. So even though the tomato itself was a fruit of the tomato plant, the seeds of the tomato are located inside of it. And these seeds could be put into soil if they're dried out, and then they could potentially grow into another plant and grow new tomato plants. Okay? Have you ever eaten corn? Think about corn, sweet corn, or corn on the cob. Corn is the seeds of a plant. Have you ever eaten pinto beans or red beans or black-eyed peas, maybe like in a chili? Beans, okay, and peas are also seeds of their plants. Okay, so we've learned about 6 parts of a plant that can be eaten. I want you to see if you can name them. And I'm not going to give you a picture right now, but I want you to think about what are the 6 different parts, not the vegetables that we were talking about, but the parts of them. If you remember, we had leaves, roots, stem, the flowers, fruit, and seeds. I hope you got all 6 of them right. That would be awesome if you did, because you were paying attention. If you didn't get all of them, that's okay. That's what we're here to do, is learn. So I want you to think back to the story that we heard. And when Gus Goodfood and Jumpin' Jackie disagreed, okay, remember whether a carrot was a root and a celery is a stem. Who was right? Because Gus Goodfood said that a carrot was not a root and celery is not a stem. Jumpin' Jackie said that a carrot is a root and celery is a stem of its plant. So who was right? You're right. It was Jumpin' Jackie. She was actually correct. Now, this is going to help. This is going to be a little game that we're going to try to play. And again, we don't have the cards and we're not in person to do this. But here's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to check to see if we can remember and review what parts or what vegetables are the leaves of their plant, which one's the roots, and then we're going to go on to the stems and all of that here shortly. So if we were doing this as a class, you should have the card that we would have had cut out as a leaf. Spinach is also a leaf. The roots out of the cards that we had and the vegetables that we're talking about today, beets are roots, or come from the roots. And so do sweet potatoes. And so do carrots. And when we go to the garden of stems, remember, asparagus is a stem of its plant. Celery is a stem of its plant. And the flowers, remember, broccoli and cauliflower are all flowers of their plant. And lastly, we have our fruits and our seeds. Remember which vegetables we talked about were fruits? Bell peppers, right? Cucumbers, correct? Eggplant, we didn't talk about that one earlier, but that's actually one. zucchini, and summer squash are all examples, including the tomato that we talked about earlier. Now, what about the seeds? Okay, we talked about the corn is a seed of its plant. And so are peas. We also talked about beans and pinto beans and black-eyed peas, same thing. Okay, so we have reached the end of our lesson. You guys did really, really good. I know that we go a little bit quicker while we're not in person, but I'm really impressed that you guys were paying attention. So how often should you eat vegetables? If you answered every day at meals, when you can, and at snack time, you're correct. You should be eating vegetables each day and trying to do it at certain meals and during snack time. Why is it important to eat a lot of vegetables? I'll let you think about that for a second. You're right. Vegetables help your body in many ways. They help you to grow, help you heal faster with cuts, and keep your eyes and your skin healthy. All right, last challenge. I want you to name the 6 parts, the 6 parts of a plant that a vegetable can be. And I'm going to give you a little hint that your exit ticket might have this question on there. Let's see if you got them. Count how many you got right. You have the stem, seeds, leaves, roots, fruit, and flowers. How many did you get right? Put up a number of fingers. Did you get all 6 right? Did you get 5? How about 4? 3? 2? 1? And that's okay. If you didn't get it, you can always go back and rewatch to review our material and learn about the different parts of a plant and where our vegetables come from and what parts of the plant they are involved with. Okay, so we have finished up our lesson for today. I am so happy that you were here with me. Enjoy your evening. Have a great night. And again, this is lesson 4 of our Jump into Health Heart curriculum. And we are going to continue with lesson 5 next time. Be safe, be healthy, have a great night. Take care.